Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special edition of CXO Leadership Towards Digital India presented by Google on Moneycontrol. To set the context, technology has seamlessly merged into our everyday lives. The ease of ordering online that has prompted consumers to shift the bulk of their buying through this medium, be it apparel, food, groceries, education, or entertainment. Now, this has forced both traditional and a new age of brands to undertake a massive digital transformation journey. Now, they have created online stores, increased their presence on digital platforms, and tracked the consumer journey on the digital medium. Be it a national brand or a regional brand, both have upped their digital game and are now spending more than ever on digital marketing to connect with their prospective audiences. So, if you want to know the ins and outs of unlocking digital for growth, you have arrived at your destination. I'm your host, Gautam Srinivasan, and joining me in this conversation are leaders from a variety of sectors spanning healthcare, education, and tech who will share insights on raising the digital quotient of their business and outline how it helps them in keeping up with changing customer behavior and, in some cases, introduce new consumer habits. This, ladies and gentlemen, is your front row seat for viewing the revolution being brought about by digital marketing and the way in which it is helping to accelerate business growth. Our lineup of speakers include Rupak Barua, Director and Group CEO at AMRI Hospitals, Vishal Mangaonkar, who's the Head of Digital Marketing at Noble Hygiene, Siva Perumal Sampath, Dean for Sponsored Research and Director at Presidency University, Bangalore, Professor D.N. Rao, Vice President at Centurion University of Technology and Management, and Neeti Walia, Head of Accelerated Growth Management at Google. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for what promises to be a wide ranging discussion. So, at the outset, I want to talk about the behavior, and we'll get a few viewpoints and use cases in for that. And the question is around, what are the changes that have been observed in overall business and consumer behaviors over the past years? And what is the change that specifically our guests see from the sales and marketing point of view? So maybe Vishal, we'll start with you, considering Noble takes a 360-degree approach to its marketing strategies, with digital taking a lion's share in ad spends. Your thoughts on that? You've had some very quirky and interesting campaigns, so take us through the change in behavior happening with customers and how digital is helping you capture their interest.
Sure. So to begin with, the search volumes that we see are done by the users have gone up in a drastic way. People who actually want to do a purchase, they will actually search for your brand on any of the search engines, and purely by virtue of that, we can see that a lot of people are searching for a brand, either for the brand or for a generic keyword like a diaper, right? So the search volumes are increasing. That means that more and more people want to buy goods online. Another thing, what I would say is people want convenience. Okay, so a chat bot in place would actually see a lot of queries flowing in. In case of adult diapers, our TG varies from 25 to 35, who is the actual buyer, and also an end consumer who is 55, 60 plus. So imagine these people coming to our website and buying products from our site. So number of online transactions have grown exponentially over the years. Number of queries on chatbot has increased. People actually, after buying a product, sometimes they just come to the site and they just talk to the chatbot saying that just repeat my last order, right? So
Hmm.
that's the level of convenience people want, and this is what we give.
All right, let's get in a broader healthcare provider for their perspective on changing habits of, well, you can't call them patients, it's customers now. So, Rupak, your thoughts on this, considering you're part of the premier healthcare provider ecosystem in Eastern India. We've seen a lot of change in the healthcare space, especially during and post the pandemic, where the expectation from the patient slash customer has increased dramatically with their healthcare provider. So, your thoughts on changing consumer behavior and the routes which digital has opened up for you to engage them in a better way?
Thanks, Gautam. Uh, See, healthcare and the digitizations of the technology is a synonym, is a part. But what we have seen, if you are talking about healthcare transformation, has been catalyzed by digital tools and technologies since the onset of the pandemic. See, through this pandemic, we have learned a lot. The whole digital transformation in healthcare actually has taken place, has been accelerated post this year pandemic situation. Now, in contrast to other industries, if we are talking about that healthcare face challenges to evolve their traditional methods and adopt approach to deliver towards a broad patient requirement. Now, quality and accessibility is the major area of concern in terms of healthcare are prerequisites in healthcare systems for patients, whatever you call it, a patient or a customer. However, these areas have been lacking in the present landscape that we'll have to understand. Now, as a doctor or a doctor actually or a patient who practice in the paper-based world, we have witnessed the early wave of technology. If we are talking about our practices and experience, actually have not grown exponentially. If you are talking about the digitizations in healthcare, it's not grown potentially till this COVID-19 has set in motion design thinking and bringing solutions to the forefront. Tools
Hmm.
and technology we are talking about, which existed for a long time in the industry, decades together, are now being adopted and at a pace which we dreamed about. And we are at an exciting point of time with talented professionals taking charge of transform the healthcare industry. But in a short
That's
way,
on the
if we
back
want
end,
to,
Rupert. That's on the back end. That's improving the healthcare ecosystem. But when we look at outreach, right, let's look at it from, say, a marketing perspective. When, say, a patient or a customer needs to know that there is this great facility which is next to me or near to me, or there's a great ecosystem of doctors in that facility, your hospital, who I can access. How are you improving on that front?
you see the reaching out to the patients of the customer. What we have done both internally and externally. Post pandemic, actually, we have we have designed the healthcare system in such a way that without much of process and system, we can reach out to the patient, to the customer. One of the major area
Hmm.
of concern was this during your COVID time, how physical touch base of the patient, because that time there is a no physical touch base, there is a no patient there. So that telemedicine, if we are talking about that, rapidly we have introduced this is the telemedicine. Telemedicine was one of the best way which we could connect this year the patients during the doctor, because it's the remote diagnosis and treatment of patients by means of communication, telecommunication, and the industry that we have taken. See, this industry is growing rapidly so far the telemedicine is concerned. So what we have seen actually, when the patient is, we are treating the patient also, and the patient is getting discharged, how to keep connect with the patient. So through this your digital media, we had through this your remote control sensor system, we are in touch with the patient. So patients are getting support services. If we are talking about customer is the ultimate one. So patient, so we give lot of attention to the patient experience, patient's journey, and we are taking healthcare is taking the digital media actually to how to keep connect with the patient internally, because we have created the whole ecosystem of the internal treatment base through this your digital media. That is a doctor's app, patient's app that we have all created. And when the patient is getting discharged, to connect them with the sensor base, we are tracking all the data of the patient, how they are improving or deteriorating, and accordingly we are taking action against the patient. So this way, in a very
Hmm.
360 degree, we are working to get maximum benefit out of the digital media to create a proper patient delivery service ecosystem.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Rupak. That's a great overview, a sort of a 360-degree approach on digital media being an enabler for the healthcare providers to properly connect with their patients. At the end of the day, it's about patient/customer centricity, and that's what digital media is enabling. Let's get some use cases from another sector as well, a very exciting sector which has seen a lot of changes, especially during and post the pandemic, which is the education sector. So, Professor Rao, I'll come to you first, and Sivaperumal, I'll come to you after that, for your perspectives on how you see consumers adapting to the digital medium for most of their activities. And do you think this is going to be a long-term shift in behavior? Because, Professor Rao, as we were talking earlier, there's been a sea of change in terms of the expectation from students, in terms of expectations of those who want skills, who want to upgrade their skill set. And your institution is one of the premier providers of skill sets training to a lot of people. So your experience in seeing the changes that have happened in the past 2 or 3 years, and the key highlights out of that change.
Yeah, in the last 5 years, I would say that this market is completely disrupted, and COVID pandemic has actually kind of aided the disruption quite a lot. Let's say I'm in this for the last 15 years now, or rather 17 years, and 15 years back, print was the way we reach students, and then TV was equally good, and digital is nowhere in picture. 2022, the main way of today reaching students is through digital. Okay, and then comes TV, a distant second, and then press is even a very, very distant third. So that way, yes, our way of reaching and the whole promotion and how do we take our offerings to students has actually kind of undergone a large disruption. We are still grappling with it, and that's where we actually hire agencies to understand and identify how do we kind of reach out digitally to the people. Especially rightly, skills, it's even more disrupted. The reason being that whilst traditional education, the markets are known, and you go to a +2 college or a degree college, and you can reach the students physically. In terms of skills, they're all over the place. Some of them are working in the industry. The only way you can reach them, in skills market, is through online, digital platforms, be it LinkedIn, be it Naukri, be it Shiksha.com, or be it Career360.com. So any of those websites, which are actually platforms for students and working professionals to get in and on. You all know that in the last 5 years, the digital edutech companies have been big stories, whether it's Byju's or whether it is Upgrad, Simply Learn.
Any lessons from there that you would like to share? I mean, considering we've seen that whole edtech ecosystem evolve so fast. So from the Centurion University perspective, any sort of lessons you've taken from that ecosystem?
We are actually kind of integrating, as the previous speaker said about health. Even in education, it's a 360-degree change. It's not only disrupted the way I reach my student, but also it disrupted the way I am teaching my students. So edtech platforms, whether it's Imparters or any of these people, we actually use reach out. LMS, at one time we were talking about learning management system. Today there are experience management systems in 3D. There are 3D platforms where I can actually put 3D assets onto learning, and that's become now experience management system as kind of slowly replacing learning management system. Interactive stuff is coming in. 3D is actually kind of disrupting or bringing in a much bigger, I would say, disruption and moving the entire education world from 2D to 3D. So definitely Centurion is trying to kind of put in a lot of content into 3D, kind of equip its classrooms to deliver 3D assets, and see how to position Centurion in metaverse, let's say, because the future universities are going to be in perhaps in metaverse, where you have a guru or an icon, and then students, and then we'll be actually running virtual classrooms. So yes, the disruption is one. First, it was 2D digital, and now we see slowly from 2D digital is going to 3D digital. So I would say education is definitely going through a far faster disruption than other sectors, and universities, which are brick and mortar universities, are finding it. I mean, they're grappling. We are also grappling with this new change, where we have introduced a lot of our content. We have made it into digital content. We are now using digital marketing is one of our major ways of marketing. We are working with many agencies there, trying to reach the students and stuff like that. And we still don't know, of course. In fact, we're also looking at even digital engagement models. How do I engage with my prospective students? It's not just about prospective contact and trying to call him or whatever. but I have a continuous communication with him. For example, sending best luck messages when they're writing exams, or congratulating them if they get a good rank. So it's a, what to say, I have to be in touch with a prospective customer or the student till he kind of bites the bullet and actually, so there's a digital engagement model. So there are lots of companies, edutech companies, who are offering these solutions. We're offering digital lead generation, digital lead mining and generation. Then offering ERP or LMS kind of solutions, which are digital engagement solutions, right? And then in the classroom, digital delivery and 3D experience management systems. We're actually working with a company from Australia called Aspiration, which is actually helping us set up a 3D delivery model.
Absolutely. It's amazing to see how the entire landscape is sort of evolving. And while still, as Professor Rao mentioned, there's still a lot of grappling with the situation, but it's from those vantage points that we learn and then we grow. As he said, reach plus teach. Shiva Perumal, let me get you into the conversation to get your view from the Presidency University perspective on, how you see this whole digital landscape changing your space, considering you cater from K-12 to higher ed. So your thoughts on this?
I just look at not just as a presidency point of view, as education field. Maybe we are looking at as a broader spectrum. What I would like to cover is like, maybe as the healthcare sector, the customers are patient. For us, the customers are students. So what I am trying to make here is as activity before students gets into the university, and within the university, what do I do after completing the university studies? I wanted to categorize into these three. In terms of admission point with respect to the student, maybe as you know, the advertisements with lavish advertisements which comes in dailies and televisions. Now you can see a lot of them in the televisions, but I see there is a drastic reduction in the printed media compared to the other medium, because nowadays the number of the youngsters reading the news article have come down, but the number of users in terms of digital or social media have grown a lot. So in terms of admission point of view, the promotional activity become one of the important aspect with respect to the digital revolution which has happened, maybe thanks to COVID, maybe, which has taught us a lot of lessons in terms of all these 3 point of view. So we are able to reach out to more number of students through this digital media. That's one advantage as an university we get in terms of admission point. In terms of the university running, everyday running, maybe just to quote an example, maybe in Tamil Nadu, it's very familiar that whenever there is a rain, schools or colleges are shut, maybe, which is very quite common in Tamil Nadu compared to other state what I've seen. But nowadays, even it is shut, we continue the online classes on those days. So it has become very routine affair. It is not only all this because of this COVID. What we have learned, maybe universities as well as the students have adapted to get into this digital way of learning and all those. So that is one advantage as a part. And as the previous Professor Rao indicated, every material, whatever is the teaching learning which happens, almost 50% of them are occupied by the digital media. We are able to do only 50% of our things in physical mode. So students prefers more on online thing, but it has its own challenges, which I would a little touch upon. In terms of placement perspective, every company visits campuses with a good number of person visiting campus. Nowadays, that has come down drastically, the travel time and all those. So in terms of placement also, it has given a little over edge for the employer as well as for the institution, because they don't physically visit nowadays. Everything happens in digital media. That's about three sector. And on the other side of as a stakeholders of the educational institution, you talk about as a university administration, as a faculty, as a student, as a parent, as an employer. Maybe we also look at what changes was brought in due to this digital revolution in last 2 years, of course. So if you see as a university gets a lot of advantage in terms of this digital revolution which has happened. So there is a very good advantage as an institution in terms of even money point of view. There are a lot of advantages for university, but The one challenge which we are facing is, even one example, when we wanted to tell the students, yeah, this is going to be completely physical, they have a problem in accepting it, because they have adopted for the hybrid kind of thing. So when you make something completely physical, we get a lot of agitation from the students. No, that's not going to be a successful way. Let us do it in a digital way. But the one advantage is we are able to reach out to more number of participants. Maybe, I mean, whether it is a student or whatever is the activity we do, the number of participation have seen a very good improvement in terms of. But effectiveness is one point which always is a concerning parameter. I think that's to simply to touch upon the digital thing which is made in the education field. I just thought of covering.
Sure. Well, those are the broad strokes. Let me get in the enablers perspective and bring you in, Neeti, in terms of this discussion that we're having on how a lot of the stakeholders are seeing consumers adapting to the digital medium for most of their activities. As we heard from the education space, there's growing demand for digital, there's growing demand for digital in healthcare as well. So, your thoughts on this, and do you think it's a long term shift in behavior, considering we've come far from, say, the 3G era, where a lot of things changed, in the 4G era, and now we are entering the 5G era? Your thoughts on this, on how consumer journeys are no longer just linear?
Yes, I think I was listening very intently to how the panel was commenting on this. You're right. We've been on a big journey. I think, I mean, there's also merit in putting context to the size of the scale of this journey that we've been on. Back in 2012, we were just 100 million internet users, and cut to 2022, after 3G, 4G, geo, demonetization, pandemic, we're at about 700 million internet users, and that number is only growing. So that is to first emphasize the scale of the adoption, and we'd have to also admit it's sticky adoption. It's not like the numbers are decreasing year on year; they're only increasing. That's happening. One. The second is that you have to also, like, when I look intently, I also see that the way people consume digital has also shifted. I mean, there are reports, there's a Statista report which says that an average user spends about 6 hours a day on their smartphone. Mobile usage data is extremely high for India. App downloads are really high. A significant amount of time, in fact, 1 in 3 Indians are watching videos online or playing games or connecting with their community through social media. And, in fact, there was a survey that we ran in 2019 where it actually said that 2 in 3 Indians would rather give up watching TV than give up YouTube for a month. And, typically we are seeing YouTube consumption to be almost 67 minutes a day. Now, all of this is a lot of data, but this is honestly just to give context that this consumption is not just the population that's on the internet, but how we are experiencing digital. Now, is this going to stick or not? I think every consumer has come onto digital based on their own necessity. But what we are seeing for sure is that 65% of Indian shoppers today actually have a digital touch point before they make a purchase. But if I have to look out and look back and say that how are different industries responding to this, there have been certain industries which are, if I could use the term, shock in categories, which kind of experience shock due to the digital penetration suddenly. So, for example, the pandemic forced groceries to pivot to be largely online first, for example, right? And that was something that we saw. Then there are categories like beauty, or I would say, more e-commerce friendly apparel, where there is sticky behavior. Consumers are repeatedly coming back to buy, and they've considered digital as a relevant point of sale for them, for a longer period. So these two, I think, are where we've seen the consumer shift and stay, because that's how the category and the brands in these categories are growing. And then there are upcoming categories, right? There is home, for example, that we've seen. There's more and more discovery about home related products. And the reason I'm giving you just three consumer product consumable examples, if you look back, even if we look around here, right, we have Nobel on this panel, and we have education partners with us, and we have healthcare partners. There are, because the consumer has shifted, because research has become so online heavy, there is a lot of influence and consideration and discovery that is happening online. Hence, this is something that I believe will stay for long, and in fact, it will be the next frontier. Like you were mentioning, like with 5G coming, what do we do more with the transformation that we are seeing to make sure that we're able to, if I could say, 10x the experience the consumer has when they have a digital touch point.
All right. While we talk about the transformative power of digital, I also want to take stock of the stumbling blocks, kind of fast forward the discussion there, and then we can come back to the the positive use cases coming about. Professor Rao, what's been a stumbling block for adopting digital marketing in your organization? Any specific challenges that you face? If you could list that for us.
Our own understanding has been the biggest challenge. Okay, I don't think there's any other challenge. We have been a bit late to understand the shifts in market, especially COVID has induced, as I said, a cataclysmic change, and that took us a bit up by surprise. And secondly, there's a lot of agencies going around telling that they can figure it out for you, but we also found that many of them don't know what they're talking. So who is the right agency who can actually take us and deliver the value that we are talking about? We are still, there are lots of, that's something that is a big problem. Digital marketing agencies, there are a lot of agencies who actually kind of speak, but are not able to really deliver the value for that. And secondly, also digital engagement. How far, where is it that personal touch is important? It's not as if that digital can do everything. It's not a magic wand that you just so it's digital it will happen. And my previous speaker from presidency has said we also found in digital plagiarism and copying in exams, in online exams, as a big problem, despite all the edutech providers saying they have all kinds of theft, these copy proof technologies, but we have found that's a big issue. And part of this is why people don't want to go back to physical exams is perhaps the ease of copying in digital exams. So we are now insisting that all exams have to go back to physical exams and not digital exams, because we have found cheating quite a lot in digital, despite using very, very standard platforms which are available in India.
Absolutely.
So
There's still some kinks to iron out, but I think from a marketing perspective, there's still a lot of positives coming in, but we'll still take stock of that. Thank you so much for sharing your views with us, Professor Rao. Rupak, maybe you could let us know, the stumbling blocks for adopting specifically digital marketing in a healthcare organization like yours. Any specific challenges that you could list out for us?
That's the only one challenge so far. This we can see there is in India so far is the penetration is very low. It is as per the 2016 data. It is showing 28% of the population actually is getting access to the internet. But in terms of time spent on social media, yes, of course, a research report says that India spends around 4.4 hours in a day of internet through this your laptop, desktop, whatever maybe the devices, but they are spending around 4.4 hours to 3.1 hours to 4.4 hours. So considering that fact, and as I have mentioned you, that the digital transformation hugely is taking place in healthcare. So all the organizations, all the hospitals, all the healthcare service providers actually is approaching more to this your digital marketing, because there are many reasons for this. Because healthcare marketing is a very subjective discussion, is a debatable. But whenever we are talking about digital marketing, we can take the contents actually, the positive contents to the more number of people that spread. Now, so for the digital marketing is concerned, more we are talking about the content promotion that we are taking up. But as such, there is no challenges that we are facing in terms of your digital marketing, because cost is very less. So lead per conversion actually is less compared to the other way of marketing, the physical marketing, or you were talking about maybe B2B marketing or A2B, C2C marketing. So this is one way that we are getting a lot of advantage. Now more we are taking through this, or whatever our marketing procedures we are taking through this your different platforms we are using for reaching out to the common people. There is one I had mentioned, the content promotion. Then we are talking about search engine optimization. This is the obtaining high quality traffic, free and organic search engine results that we are making. Social media marketing, actually, we are taking huge. We are taking the approach, and you won't believe that is we are getting remarkable response we are getting from this social media marketing, whether it is Instagram, is the Twitter, or the Facebook. So both way, one is the live content that we are doing right now that we have started because people actually wants to know, particularly post pandemic, they want to know actually from the horse's mouth, from the doctor's side, more lot
Hmm.
of on issues and the challenges, post COVID challenges. So the customers or the patient or customers at large, if you can say, or population at large, they are all looking for the solution actually. And we
Hmm.
identified common subject to deliver. And the doctors, they through this your social media, we are reaching out to the lakhs of populations actually in one go. So doctors spending less time, doctors not going any other place, and it's a live streaming we are doing, and we are reaching out to the maximum number of people. Then we
That's
are
a great
taking
point.
actually, and we are taking email marketing in a very huge way. All our the different kind of schemes, different kind of our promotion, new products launching, new service launching. Actually, we are doing through this your email marketing. And one area also of late we have taken into consideration is the instant messaging marketing. That's because you know that WhatsApp uses is almost 1.5 billion people worldwide actually using this your WhatsApp. So we are
Hmm.
taking WhatsApp message actually in a very big way. So to conclude the whole discussion, how this your digital marketing is giving support to this your healthcare in a different various way in terms of your promotion, in terms of your creating a brand, and in terms of your service to the patient or service to the community. Three ways actually we are getting a lot of support through this new digital marketing.
That's fantastic. It covers various bases as you mentioned, Rupak. Vishal, maybe we could get your perspective. Although digital is a lion's share of your spends when it comes to the entire sort of marketing strategy, how core is it going to be for growing your brand in the next couple of years? Give us the picture. What was the importance of digital in the last couple of years, and where is it going to be in terms of your play in the next couple of years?
Right. So as my fellow panelist actually pointed out some interesting numbers, right? I mean, the amount of time people are spending on the online front, watching videos or on social media, etc. Right. So number of people who are actually consuming videos, okay, or who are actually consuming social media has grown to like I guess tenfolds. Okay, so now to begin with, the users actually have a attention span of a goldfish. Okay, so one of the challenges that I face while creating digital content is scrunching the entire brand narrative in like 20 seconds, right? So that is one of the major challenge that we are facing as compared to my the past 1 year. Okay, my spends have increased exponentially because number of users coming to my website have increased by at least 4 times, 4 or 5 times. Okay, if you ask about my overall media spends in digital, the more media spends are getting skewed towards the digital front as compared to the mainline front, as more number of conversions, a higher return on investment is seen on the digital front. But major drawback which I feel is going to come in soon is with respect to the privacy policies, is what I strongly feel. So major browsers like your Safari and Firefox have already started prohibiting the third party cookies, as a result of which your targeting goes haywire and you're not able to reach to the right set of consumers. And very soon Google is gonna start that prohibition soon, right?
Hmm.
So we'll have to find ways by which we can actually reach the right set of cohorts.
All right, Niti, maybe we could get you to respond to that, and also the advantages, the key advantages of adapting to the digital medium. Any interesting businesses that you've seen pivoting online?
Yes, actually, I think I'm going to take the second part of the question first in terms of what we are seeing businesses who are moving. In fact, I was
Hmm.
just going through a case study which talked about that JCERC University, in fact, in 2021, thought that education, again, looking at going after net new students, which are customers in this case, and they in fact spent significant amount of time tapping into new geographies with digital, going into their key markets where the existing students come from, going deeper in that, and of course testing newer formats, and getting like better, if I could say, bang for the buck. And they saw the 2021 season, which had almost 150 courses up for admissions, with Google Ads becoming number one channel for leads that were being fueled into the system. The reason I take an example like this is because for categories like education, healthcare, just higher involvement categories, right? A consumer needs multiple touch points with that brand, and even they, and not only at the point that they're ready to go and get an admission, they need to be educated about a brand, have to have trust about it, have to have an acceptance of the brand and the value proposition of the offering. And I feel digital allows you the flexibility or the control to speak to your consumer depending on what stage of exploration, decision making, purchase they are on. Because initially, marketing was very linear. You did upper funnel, and then you did a mid funnel intervention, and then people went and made a purchase. But now what people keep doing is they go research, and then if they like something, they may move towards purchase, and if they don't feel that it's compelling enough, they go back into the research funnel. So it's very non-linear, the consumer journey. And hence, working with platforms, any digital platform, and I can cite a Google example in this case, like I did for JCRC. Just using digital allows you to be present with different messaging at different stages of the funnel, so that you can kind of speak to the consumer in the language that they'd like to be spoken to, and hopefully land your message in a more impactful manner.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Impact. Maybe Vishal, we'll get you to respond to that. And I also want to clear up, what is the objective that you have set for the marketing function from a digital standpoint? Is it only to talk about a brand, or are you using it as a medium to sell products as well? Your response to what Neeti said and this question.
Right. So our objectives are two-faced. So one of the objective is obviously to drive engagement, making sure more and more people are interacting with the brand. They are watching, 100% of our ad films. Okay, they are engaging more, they're commenting more, they're liking more of a post, sharing more of a post, right? By virtue of that, probably making the post or a video viral. Okay, and secondly, probably more in terms of community building. Okay, building a set of community on social media, and thereby just getting a higher organic reach on those platforms, right? So that is one of the objectives. Obviously, second objective is with respect to the revenue, right? I mean, it's a D2C website, direct to the customer website. We sell online, right? And the pure objective in this case is revenue. I mean, how much you're spending and how much revenue you're actually driving out of it. Revenue ROAS, or return on investment, which is low as compared to your modern trade or general trade, right? So that's with respect to the objective. Those are the two-pronged objectives that we have. Now, coming to the users. Now we have somewhere around 650 million or 700 odd million users. 50% of them are from rural areas, right? And a good number of people are also from tier 2, tier 3 cities, and these people are actually searching in vernacular language. So if you see your Google Analytics or Search Console, you'll easily find that queries which are actually done in vernacular languages are actually ramping up, right? So reaching out to those people by creating vernacular or local colloquial content also makes sense. I mean, a lot of, as my fellow panelists said, that a lot of research is happening online, right? So creating content in the language that people prefer, okay, literally in Devanagari script as well, okay, also works, and that actually assists them in the decision making process.
All right. One interesting term you use, community building. Let me see if that has an application. Digital marketing as a community building tool in the education space, if that has certain implications. Shiva, your thought on that? In a sense, we are looking at retaining a lot of, say, the students, right? Retaining student interest. And for you, the advantage is they are going to be with you from K-12 to higher ed. So digital marketing as this sort of community building tool, do you think that is its key advantage for you?
Yeah, maybe
Because a
if
lot of
you
students might not know, right? There are, let's say you organize something, you organize a
yeah,
certain group where they're all part of, and my old
that's
school groups do this right
yeah,
now. So
maybe
I come from that perspective, Shiva.
in that front, no, maybe nowadays you can see more number of our own students going to a small school to teach the students about how to use mobile phone, how application, how to use a computer. Because if you look at the maybe especially the government schools or panchayat managed schools, I see in recent time the number of students going to these schools and trying to help those children to learn those things have grown a lot, because there is a demand from the school side as well. So and also, as you rightly pointed out, reaching out more number of students with the information become very easy, very handy in recent time. So maybe other than that, I'm not
Mm,
able to say something much better. Maybe
sure.
uh, that's what I wanted to make.
No worries. Niti, maybe we'll get you in to talk more about, when we talk about the advantages of the digital medium in terms of connecting with the consumer, maybe you could present more use cases to us in terms of the applications.
Yes, I think it's a little bit of what we all are actually doing. I alluded to the point of the scale of the audience. From a marketing point of view, when you want to speak to your consumer, you look for a couple of things. That am I speaking to a scalable number of people, or am I speaking to a large percentage of the population, which is my target group? And that reach today, digital is able to give us. And I think it's relevant for all categories and overall for mass brands also. Then comes the second layer, that am I speaking to a diverse set of audiences? Are they only urban? Are they only rural? Are they only male, only female? I think now the internet landscape for India is such that we have the diversity of consumers. In fact, 2 out of 3 new internet users today are female, and 3 in 4 uh, new users are from rural India. So you're able to speak to different parts of the country and to speak to all parts of the population also. And
Mm,
then there are the three big things that I think help users or brands connect with their consumers. First is search intent. If a user today is looking for a product, or is even doesn't even know what product they're looking at, but they're looking for an answer to a question that they have, we have the ability with digital to tap into that search interest and be the answer to a consumer's or a user's questions. If I would like to say what to do after class 12, there is a
mm,
huge opportunity where one of us on the panel can come and say, hey, here's a course, and we are maybe a partner that can offer that course. So search interest is a way that digital offers for us to connect to the consumer. The second is that whether it's through the entertainment content that anybody consumes or the news that they consume, today there is significant amount of visual and text based inventory, or I would say content available in people's own language. So you have so much vernacular content that you can speak to your consumer in the language that they understand or they're most comfortable with. I mean, think about
mm,
how print regionals would be so popular because brands knew how to leverage or advertise in those forums. But now you can capture that intent, speak in their language, get scale, speak to a diverse audience. You can do a lot of this. And of course, the third big thing, no company or brand would like to spend without getting sales out of it. So it's also imperative to see that, is digital able to drive action for us also? And the way we've seen the Indian shopper become prominent on the internet, it is testament to the fact that you can also drive action, drive purchase.
mm,
So there is discovery, there is education, engagement, and I would say a little bit of enrollment with the brand. And then there is also the ability to sell or to drive action. And all parts of this in the language that the consumer wants to be spoken to, in the format that they prefer, and at the scale that the company or a brand wants, all is today now
mm.
possible to engage with the consumer on digital.
All right, Vishal, let me get you to respond to that, considering, the funnel itself has changed from engagement to enrollment. And as the market moves more towards vernacular, the focus is more there. Uh, the success of a digital marketing campaign, do you think that that gets amplified? Any metrics that you have defined for success there? And especially over, say, traditional marketing mediums, do you see digital rising in terms of its prominence, especially as the market goes more vernacular?
Yeah, metric more or less remains the same.
Mm,
It's conventional matrix like a lift score. Okay, how
mm,
much lift your brand is getting. Okay, by virtue of your brand lift studies. Let's say if you're writing an article, okay, then what's the number of minutes people are actually spending reading the article? Are they bouncing off? I mean, are they eventually making a purchase once the article reading is done, right? So these are few of the metrics, but apart from that, it's important to educate the people as well. So for example, Friends Adult Diaper
mm,
is a product for incontinence. Okay, so now if we're going to build a community of people who are actually suffering from incontinence, then we would like to understand how big is that community, right? I mean,
mm.
how many people are we adding month on month, or probably every 6 7 months? How many people are getting added to that community, and what's the kind of engagement are we having with them? Okay, so probably adding number of people who join the incontinence community is also one of the metric.
All right, we're almost out of time. So Rupak, let me get you in for the last word. Any recommendations from your side on how one should plan their business journey to digital marketing? Make it a sort of a driver for business growth. Your thoughts, your lessons.
See, initially in healthcare, digital marketing used to play in a very limited way because more, that because people are not very tech savvy, one area of
Mm,
concern. And there is also your, if you are talking about the penetration of the smartphone was not there because all of our if we go for this digital marketing more, we are looking for the penetration. If we are not, whatever the money we are spending in terms of digital marketing, if we are not getting return out of that, we used to think of. So more we used to use, and more I'm talking about in terms of your healthcare marketing. More we used to talk about this your either this is your print media and more of you is your physical marketing. But what we have seen, we are reaching out to a very limited number customers or the patients, the population in terms of your physical marketing, and the other part is your that print media actually that has the cost has gone up like anything, and your shelf life is very limited. So while now over the time because of the 34 million phone users in 2010, now it has reached to 900 plus million users of the smartphone. So growing up is your smartphone penetration, and the people are having everything because our marketing tools more we talked about that your through this your content promotion, doctors live video promotion. These are all very high. I mean your what you call it your data consumer is your situation. So over the time now whatever the budget we used to have the marketing budget in terms of promotion, if it is before the pandemic it was 20% and 80% to the other side. Now we had made it that maybe 30% is the other side, and almost 70% of the budget we are spending through this your digital
mm,
marketing because we are reaching out to the customer in a very massive way. Our doctors, because doctors are not available all the time. I'm talking about the high-end doctors, star doctors. So their time is very precious. They are concerned about their patient internally. So externally, we hardly could have take them for any kind of a seminar symposium. But through this year, particularly post pandemic, we are taking digital media actually as a marketing tool, major marketing tool, and the doctors are happy. We are promoting to the doctors also. So individual marketing is taking place, community marketing is taking place, and in that way, really we are quite. I mean, and there are a lot of aggregators also available in the market those who are actually working on the social media, and they are
mm.
aggregating like media, and there are a lot of credit health. There are many of the aggregators are there in the market. They are also helping us a lot in terms of your promoting this your lead conversion through this your digital media. So day by day, we are taking more help We are through this your website, particularly international marketing, is very expensive in terms of your traveling or the physical marketing. Through digital
Hmm.
marketing, we are doing our international marketing in terms of promoting your medical tourism. And so this way, yes, of course, we are reaching out to the people. People are getting, I mean, population is getting benefited out of this. And society is getting benefited out of the conversion and conversation. And we are in terms, we are getting the conversion when we are getting the patient lead conversion and all. So that's all. I mean, we are getting out of this one, and gradually, day by day, we are increasing our digital expenses in the digital. I mean, in cost incurring is a digital media more rather than the print media.
All right, Rupak, a ringing endorsement for digital marketing and, of course, its applications and benefits, everything from medical tourism to maybe consumer cohorts basis different conditions which are present in the populace. And as, of course, we go towards more regionalization, more towards the vernacular, the cost optimization that is brought about, that's another factor in where as well. Why? Because the next billion users out of India, they present the next big growth opportunity. And of course, for enterprises, getting digital marketing right, that will be invaluable to the efforts of any brand, big or small, national or regional, in attracting, engaging, and of course, retaining customers who are always on. So from effective targeting to lower cost and higher ROI, the benefits of digital marketing across industries, those have been laid out in great detail by our panel of guests. And I'd like to thank all of them for joining us in this conversation. And of course, a big thank you to our viewers as well for tuning in to watch this special edition of CXO Leadership Towards Digital India, presented by Google on Money Control. Till next time, this is your host, Gautam Srinivasan, signing off. Have a great day.